Welcome back to my playthrough of Pathfinder Kingmaker, where I've just had a refreshing night's sleep at Oleg's trading post, interrupted only slightly by the appearance of a ghostly nymph apparition thing that gave me a whole bunch of new interesting information about the challenges that reclaiming the stolen lands is going to involve. We thought we were just facing a bandit lord, simple enough. Turns out, behind the stag lord, there is some weird, shadowy, mysterious druid who's making magical fog that kind of taints the land and has made problems for this nymph who's asked us for help. So, as well as trying to claim the stolen lands for Lady Jamaldi Aldori, we're now trying to find and deal with a mysterious druid and his magical fog on behalf of this nymph. So, it's all getting very interesting. Let's unpause and collect up our companions before we set off on the next bit of our adventure. Here's Lindsay, using our downtime to update her journal, the chronicles of our adventures, and it looks like we have a chance to ask her some things about herself, and I guess doing that would give us a whole bunch of backstory for the character and maybe some insight into her motivations, and that would be cool. I'm going to just push on for now though, and say nothing. The interactions with NPCs, I think, are one of the really fun parts of these sorts of games. Thinking all the way back to Baldur's Gate, for instance, where we had fantastic characters like Minsk the Barbarian. Talking to them would often be really entertaining. Quite a big sort of fun part of the game. Here, I'm sort of interested in the gameplay more so than the characters at the moment, and I just want to kind of push on with the adventuring. And there's plenty of time, I'm sure, to sort of draw out Lindsay's backstory, maybe get a character-related side quest that we can do. But for now, we'll just kind of push on with the main story. Let's have a quick word to Svetlana, the innkeeper, or the innkeeper's wife. Okay, so again here we can talk about her and her backstory, we can talk about the Stag Lord. Again, I'm not going to pursue any of these lines of conversation. Just going to try and push on with the adventuring. Okay, outside again, we find Oleg, Bokken, Oleg the owner of the trading post, Bokken the potion-making alchemist type, and somewhere around here, hopefully, Amiri is
no stopping now.
Hanging out. We want to collect her before we go. So I quite like the environments here. There's some nice kind of detail. We've got moving grass, we've got pretty flowers, we've got a little cat, dog, fox thing. Can't quite tell. It's cute in any case. Roaming around. The torches look pretty cool too. So yeah, the environments I think are quite nice. Not the biggest selling point for this sort of game, but still very nicely done. So yeah, I can't seem to find Amiri anywhere, but let's have a quick word with Bokken, since we haven't really talked to him much. Alright, so he's quite proud of his role in beating back that bandit attack earlier. He lobbed alchemist fire bombs and did at least as much damage to our enemies as he did to us, which is nice. At the moment, we can ask him about his inventory. So we haven't asked him about his inventory yet. It looks like he sells all kinds of useful potions. So potions that restore hit points, always useful. Potions that give us a buff of some kind or other, so better armor or a mischance, which is also nice. Enlarge person, very nice as well. A whole bunch of potions that remove bad conditions that we can end up suffering from in various different ways. So good to know that those are there. They're not cheap though, so we better avoid needing them if we can. A few magic items too, so a wand of mage armor and a wand of snowball. Mage armor isn't going to be useful for any of our characters, and snowball looks like it gives a sort of minor attack that, again, there's better things we can do with our actions than burn gold pieces using up charges from a wand like that, but it's cool that it's there. A few books, and what look like ingredients for cooking, so if we ever find any more recipes, good to know we can buy some ingredients from our alchemist potion maker type. Alright, nothing that we want to buy really at the moment. Anything that we want to sell? I think we'd rather hang on to our useful consumables rather than flog them off, so we won't sell anything. But good to see what he's got for sale. We could ask if we could help him, so that seems like it might lead to a side quest, and it does. There we go, very nice. So he tells us that he needs some berries. He can't get them himself because there are spiders. Spiders. And it looks like he's given us a new location to explore, probably marked on our world map. So we can agree to help him out here, and he'll give us some help doing that right at the start. Oh, okay, good. So one of the big criticisms about the game was that this early side quest that you get involved a fight that was extremely difficult if you didn't know what you were doing, because the enemies were impossible to damage without a certain kind of weapon or spell. So spiders themselves, you just hit them and they die eventually. Spider swarms, which are groups of tiny spiders that act as a single enemy, can't be hit with regular weapons. So think of it like being covered in tiny spiders and trying to stab them. It's just ineffective. In order to damage a spider swarm, or any kind of swarm enemy, you need area of effect spells or items. And apparently in the earlier versions of this game, this wasn't explained at all well, and players would hit this encounter in the first side quest location and just die because they didn't have the relevant knowledge, and so they didn't have the necessary items or abilities to deal with the spider swarms. Here it looks like, in this sort of post-release version, long post-release version of the game, we're getting clues from Bokken when he gives us the quest about how to deal with the enemies we'll encounter, and we're getting items that'll let us do that. So he's telling us that we need to burn the spiders, and he's giving us alchemist's fire, which we already have some of, but more will be nice too, to use against them. So whatever the reasoning behind the initial version of the game where none of this was explained, they've clearly gone back on it, and they have now built in clues and help to let players who don't know about the Pathfinder swarm enemy mechanic nevertheless deal with it when they encounter it for the first time. That's good. So, as well as fangberries, he wants us to get moon radishes. He doesn't know where to find those, but find kobolds by the sound of it, and moon radishes might not be far away, so we'll keep an eye out for kobolds and moon radishes for him. Alright, we can ask him why he needs them, sure, and he will palm us off, so it's a mystery until we get him some why he needs these, but no doubt for some kind of interesting concoction or other, which we might be able to buy from him, I guess, once we give him the ingredients to make. Okay, we will agree to help him. Alright, and we will move on. Okay, so we now have our first side quest. It pops up telling us that we need to get mood radishes and fangberries for Bokken. Alright, I wonder if we can have a look at the map. Map, M, yep, great. And see if we can find on our world map that new location. So here it throws us into the local area map, I guess. That would be the map of Oleg's trading post, which shows us, or our main player character. It shows our NPCs, So Amiri is around here somewhere, I just didn't go far enough looking for her earlier. Likewise Valerie. And it also shows what look to be markers for NPCs. So that'll be handy if we end up in bigger locations with... Oh, it also it shows us where the potatoes are. Always good to know. If we end up in bigger locations with much more going on, so more NPCs, more buildings, more locations to keep track of, then having this will be really handy when it comes to, say, finding the quest giver who we need to go back to with the items that we've collected. Obviously not a challenge here, we walk in and Bocken's right near the gate, but in a much big, having these markers will be really useful. I wonder, can we add markers of our own somehow? No, but we can move on this local area map by right-clicking. Okay, fair enough, good to know. What I want to know now is how do we get to the world map from the local area map? Can we click somewhere? Can we... it doesn't really look like we can get to the world map from this screen, unless I'm really missing something obvious. We're stuck on the local area map. We can't zoom in or out. Well, we can, but it doesn't do what I want. Alright, so that's a bit shit. A little bit disappointing that you jump out from the local area map into the world map in any obvious way, at least. Right, it looks like we might have to go to the exit from this area before we can get back to the world map and see if that Fangberry Cave is nearby or what. Alright, we can do that. So, talking to Lindsay inside, there wasn't an option to say come with me, so I'm imagining that there won't be for Valerie or for Amiri either. I'm hoping that when we leave here we just get magically sort of reunited, so let's do that now. See how we can get out of here. In many games like this, just walking to the edge of the map was enough to give you the option to leave the area. It looks like here that's not true. Here we have to actually find a specific point to leave the map. Alright, so we'll click on that. Again, it tells us what loot we've failed to pick up. So this was just sitting in a chest in the upstairs area of the inn. I don't think we really need to grab this, do we? Sure, why not? We'll grab it. And hopefully, so we don't have our party members with us, but hopefully when we leave... cool, okay. When we leave the area, we get the option to add members to our party. Looking at this, it seems like Amiri is well below full health, so that's something we would like to take care of before leaving this area, actually. So let's close out of here. Let's go back and see if we can rest again and see if that heals Amiri back to full health. If we rest again, Joseph can use his lay on hands again. He has 3 uses of that per day, so we can do 3d6 worth of healing to Amiri, who can also recover some hit points naturally as she rests. Hopefully that'll be enough to get her back to full health. Alright, so we don't talk to the innkeeper to rest. Looks like we just go back upstairs. And hopefully this will give us the option to rest again. We get a load screen and an autosave. And then we awaken again. Okay, so Amiri's healed for 2 hit points. Lindsay and Joseph have healed Amiri using their spells and abilities, so hopefully that means we're back to full health. Good, so if we jump into Joseph's character screen, even though they're not currently in our party, we can look at our party members' stats, and she is indeed back to full health. So that's good. Now, with everyone back at full health, we will hit that exit from the area again and collect them. And on our way to the world map screen and the next location we want to check out, which may be that Fangberry Cave. So let's jump into map and just use this ability to move on this local area map rather than kind of dragging around the screen. We can jump into the area map, right click, and that'll take us to where we want to go. It's a little more efficient maybe. And there we go. Let's add our party members. I wonder if the order that we add them in affects the order that they're put in our formation. So let's add our frontliners before our sort of back row support type characters, and there we go. So a bit of background on Lindsay. I really like the character portraits too. The artwork's got a consistent style and I think it looks really nice. Okay, so here we are on this world map screen. Can we zoom out? No, we can't zoom out. So there is a location with a question mark, indicating I guess we haven't explored it yet. And that's the cave that Bokken has marked on our map, where we need to go to collect fangberries and avoid dying to spiders. Okay, that's good. There's another one down here, and this is Thorn Ford. So this was the location that was marked on our map, or sort of told to us, I guess, by the weird nymph apparition who is asking us to check out the druid and his magical fog. So good, we've got a location to explore there as well. Anything else? So dragging around on this map, quite a slow process, and especially not being able to zoom out makes it hard to get a really big sort of overview of what's where. But I guess for now we're only exploring close to where we are, so that's fine. Can we just click on this to go to it? Maybe? No, we can't. Okay, let's click on this arrow to go toward it. Oh, we didn't get far at all then before we stopped, so not sure what that's about, but let's click on that again. Alright, a random encounter. There's someone on the road, get ready. So a little tip here about getting blinded or having some other disadvantageous condition imposed on your character. Alright. A jittery old man in squalid clothing shuffles up to you. His grey hair is unkempt and he continually clenches and unclenches his wrinkled, freckled hands. When he stops and looks up at you, his eyes widen and he tugs at his beard. Alright, random hobo encounter. Strange weather, invisible fog creeping out of the woods, soars beyond the sky, obscures the sun and moon. Strange. The old man shakes his head, his eyes shifting about seemingly at random. Remus, we somehow know that this rambling, derelict-looking fellow's name is Remus. Okay, Amiri, superstitious and and instinctively hostile, says she doesn't like the look of him. We sort of tend to agree. But he's talking about fog, which that nymph also talked about, so let's ask him about the fog. Fog is wrong. It hinders your legs, not your sight. I wish not to try. Okay, interesting. Let's keep asking him about the fog. I see more than ever. I never seen so much before. But someone must look and no one else can. Alright, so I wonder if he can tell us something if we cut through the rambling about this fog we're meant to investigate. Who are you? Remus, as you've already been told by the interface. But that won't help with the fog. Alright, let's ask him what he's doing. Oh, very zen. Okay. Let's not threaten to kill him if he says anything else. Let's not insult him. Let's go with the only option that isn't one of those. Alright. So somehow this rambling hobo knows about our rival. Interesting. Let's ask him if he means Tartuccio. Sounds like he does. So our little evil gnome Tartuccio is somehow known to Remus, the rambling, fog-obsessed hobo, and he might be able to tell us something more about him. So let's ask where he is. Hey, there we go. He's in an old tomb south of the trading post. Fantastic. So that looks like another location will have been added to our map. We've got a little bit of experience for finding that information out. Let's not give him a backhanded compliment, let's just say thank you. And let's ask him if he knows what Tartuccio is looking for in the old tomb. Someone else's, old but forever young, that which was taken from another, that which gave joy and now gives death. Okay, could you be any more obscure? Alright, so we get a cryptic bit of rambling from I suspect not random encounter at all, probably a scripted encounter, to tell us where Tartuccio is, what he's doing, at least in mysteriously sort of vague terms. And now we get a little bit more cryptic rambling about reclaiming the stolen lands, and he leaves us. Alright, so now we've got another quest added, or another goal or something added to our little list. It sounds like Tartuccio is not wasting any time. He's looking for some sort of item, I guess, some sort of powerful item in a tomb that he probably hopes will help him beat us in our race to reclaim the stolen lands for Aldori. So let's head out of this area. Let's see if we can find that ancient tomb and Tartuccio. We don't want to let him get whatever he wants. We don't know what it is. All we know is that he wants it, and that's good enough for us to try and stop him getting it. So swift actions. You don't have to burn much of your action economy or your action allowance in combat on a swift action. Do that and take an attack or cast a spell. It's one of the things that makes paladins lay on hands when used on themselves so handy to have. They can do that as a swift action and keep on fighting while they heal themselves, so it's quite efficient. Wonderful. Where's this tomb is our quest. Ooh, that's the new one. A mound with a small barrow inside. The stolen lands are rich with traces of long-gone settlements and the ruins of ancient civilizations. Almost every year, an accidental landslide exposes a door to an ancient tomb or the foundation of some destroyed temple. This location is a prime example of this. Okay, let's put the brakes on our spider Fangberry quest in favour of getting here and hopefully stopping Tartuccio getting whatever it is he's looking for in this ancient tomb. So again, we can't just click and go there. We don't know the way yet, so we just want to click in the general direction of. And so I'm not sure why it stops us automatically sometimes. Maybe I'll find out the hard way why that is. Alright, let's head toward. Whoa, okay, so another random encounter. We get a fight, we get an option to try to avoid. I'm inclined to try to avoid it, so we can get to the tombs as soon as possible and stop Tartuccio. I don't know what is involved in trying. Obviously, fighting will just stop and fight them. Trying to avoid them, I'm not sure what's involved in that. Maybe it's a stealth check, maybe it's something else. Let's see. We've spotted the enemies, that's good, and we've successfully evaded the enemies. Alright. That's good. So it looks like perception matters to evading random encounters. And then once you've made that perception check, you still get an option to fight, as opposed to just evading, which is what we wanted. Maybe if you fight after successfully evading, you get some kind of advantage. Maybe you sort of ambush the enemies that you've randomly encountered. It would be interesting to find that out. I'm not going to do it this time though. Okay, so we've evaded whatever that was. Let's continue toward the tomb and toward tomb. And toward the tomb. Alright, we do want to enter the ancient tomb, yes. Alright, I like the little overworld map interface. I think that's kind of fun. It looks like skill checks still play a role even in that. It's not just a matter of clicking and waiting for your little counter token thing to move around. Alright, so this has dumped us right into the tomb. Let's save here. And then let's have Lindsay, who, as of level 2, since we've leveled her up, now has quite a good stealth score. So if we look at her skills up here, we see a stealth with, her stealth with her ranks and her dex and her size bonus would be quite good. It looks like in her chain shirt and encumbered, it's significantly impaired. So let's maybe jump into our inventory and see if we can unencumber her. Let's remove the club, and let's maybe remove the longsword as well. This has still left her at medium encumbrance, but not by much. She's only like 1.5 pounds over her medium encumbrance level. If we can somehow... Let's take off her chain shirt as well, which will do two things. It'll drop her encumbrance right down, so there's no penalty for that, and it'll also remove that armor check penalty to stealth that the chain shirt imposes. So the reason I'm doing all this is so that her stealth score will be better, and now it is. We've removed those encumbrance and equipment-based penalties, and so that we can now bump her into stealth mode, which is this little eye here, and have her creep ahead to see if she can spot... Oh, okay, so that didn't take any actual spotting. But to see if she can spot what's waiting for us. So here... Harem! So that's the gloomy dwarf from the starting section of the game. Remember, we saved him from bandits. He didn't seem thrilled to not be dying after all, but we saved him all the same, and he ended up joining Tartuccio in the course of our dialogue with Lady Jamaldi Aldori. We had to make, remember, a series of choices about how to respond, and the options we picked, largely good and largely lawful, didn't sit well with Harem, who I believe was a chaotic neutral character. But in any case, he decided he'd feel more comfortable with Tartuccio than with us, which I guess is what leads him to be stuck in this tomb here. So let's have Lindsay creep forward again and see what she can see. So here it looks like Tartuccio has found the time and the money to hire some mercenaries. Right. And, whoa, hang on. Oh, that's a bit rubbish. So we're creeping forward stealthed, but somehow we've triggered a dialogue here. I don't like that at all. Alright, so the reason I don't like this is because it seems like scouting out this area with a stealthed character is impossible unless I failed a stealth check in the background somehow, which wasn't made clear. It looks like just coming within a certain range of Tartuccio has triggered a dialogue, and I'm sort of worried that at the end of this, the fact that I've scouted them out stealthily is just not going to matter. Let's find out. Alright, Tartuccio is directing operations here as his mercenaries.
Guess, you're still dawdling. Should I make some tea in the meantime? Bake a pie, perhaps? Plant a small garden and harvest some cherries? Perhaps you'd be more comfortable wearing fool's caps and collared trousers. Then at least I'd be able to sell tickets. Come one, come all! Feast your eyes upon the slowest and the most ridiculous buffoons in Golorian.
Tartuccio with his leadership style on full display, trying to harangue his mercenaries and his companions into working
Why
faster.
hurry? The same end awaits us all.
Harry showing his peculiar resistance to being
Hold your
harangued.
tongue, gnome. I can hardly tell your twaddle from the buzzing of a fly.
Right, so it doesn't seem like this is an especially happy party that Tartuccio is
Quickly
leading here.
now. If we don't find that artifact soon, someone else might seize it. Someone who's standing over there watching you right now, you fools!
So this is what I meant about not being super happy about this dialogue auto-triggering when I came within range. So it looks like even though I was stealthed and hoping to kind of scout out the situation here so that I could then prepare, the game has just triggered this interaction where Tartuccio has automatically seen us and now we've got to interact. Alright, so that's not great. I think that's kind of lazy. I think not allowing for a stealth door. Suppose we had a potion of vanish and, or a scroll of vanish, or we had vanish as a spell, which is totally an option by now. That was one of the spells that Lindsay could have picked. She could have walked in here completely invisible, and I wonder if that would have mattered. I sort of suspect not. I sort of suspect that given how this played out, even invisible, this dialogue would have triggered, and you'd be left wondering how Tartuccio has noticed a completely invisible character and told his guards to get ready to fight. So yeah, not super impressed with how this has been handled. Alright, but let's roll with it. Let's see what we can do. It looks like we can use our diplomacy skill, which Joseph has been pumping up for just such occasions, to try to recruit Harim or Jathal. So to appeal to their character in some way, or their attitude, or their preferences in some way, and turn them over to our side. Who would we prefer to have? Well, we would prefer not to have the evil undead Jathal, I think, which leaves us with Harim. So
Side
let's see
with
if we
you.
can get Harim on
I
side.
cannot say if there be sense in that. I am satisfied in serving Tartuccio as much as anyone else. Lotus's peace awaits us all in the end.
Alright, so we failed a diplomacy check by rolling a 1. Ouch. That hurts. So the DC for that check was only 10. With a +7, we would have succeeded on a 3 or better, but we've managed to fail it with a 1. So Harim is not going to switch sides. We could try again to get Jathal on side. I'm not going to. I think it just wouldn't make sense for Joseph, the lawful good paladin, to try to recruit the evil undead Jathal, who's already expressed dissatisfaction with how inclined he is to help those in need. So we're not going to try and get Jathal on side. What are we going to do instead? We can just attack. Let's not do that. Let's ask him why he's neglecting the duty that he agreed to fulfill, to search for the Stag Lord and deal with the Stag Lord on Jumandi's behalf. That seems like the
I
sort of
might
thing
ask
we
you
would
the
say, so
very
let's say
same.
it.
Aren't you supposed to be searching the local forest for some bandit boss in a horned hat?
Yeah, we are, in the grand scheme of things, doing that by stopping you getting whatever it is you want and maybe taking out the Stag Lord yourself to the detriment of everyone when you, chaotic evil little gnome, end up in charge here. So,
Whatever did I do to deserve someone like you? Here, you fools, drop your shovels. We're leaving. The rest of you, cover my retreat.
and here all my complaining about how this has played out is kind of borne out. So it looks like at the end of this conversation that he's somehow having with our stealthed character, he is going to run away and we're going to end up in combat with all of his mercenaries, despite the fact that we've snuck up on them. So again, it's just not great encounter design. I think that failing to account for the possibility that players might scout this either under the effect of stealth or more kind of robustly and reliably under the effect of like invisibility just shows, you know, a lack of foresight on the sort of developer's part. So yeah, this is not. I'm gonna say, you know, I think for the first time, just flat out, this is a bad feature of the game.
I need inspiration.
Right. So again, just to recap that, I don't want to sound like I'm complaining without justification. What we did was, from all the way back here, so well out of sight range of this group of characters, send Lindsay forward stealthed with a good score in stealth to see what she could see, and upon hitting sort of this range with Tartuccio, that dialogue section triggered, and the end result of that is though that even though no one's apparently spotted Lindsay, if we look back up through all of this and we find if someone's made a perception check, no one made a perception check to find her. We just triggered that dialogue by coming close enough to Tartuccio. Yeah. So even though no one's actually noticed her, and certainly no one's noticed us all the way back here, we're now in combat. Yeah. That's not good. That's bad. I don't like that. Alright. So, let's see if we can jump into our inventory screen. Let's see if we can re-equip. No, see, now this is the problem as well. It looks like we can't re-equip armor on Lindsay once we're in combat. And that makes a certain sort of sense. Like, swapping out armor in combat is probably, you know, unrealistic and immersion breaking, and it's not a feature I'd like to see, you know, on balance. But had we scouted successfully, then we could have put this armor back on her before we triggered combat on our own terms. So yeah, Lindsay's going to be unarmored by the look of it for this encounter, which is not great. It also looks like Tartuccio's mercenaries are all targeting her, even though none of them have spotted her. So again, this is just not a good way to have this encounter play out. Let's move her back, and let's move her all the way back, and let's have these characters prepare for battle with these mercenaries. So let's have Amiri, make sure that we've got the equipment equipped that we want. So we didn't, so it's good that we checked. Make sure that... so Valerie's somehow equipped her bare hand. That's not great either. It looks like, having added them back into our party, they're now not equipping their equipment in a sensible way. So rather than equipping the first equipment set here, which you'd think would be the default one, instead it's equipped the last one, which is nothing. So I'm glad we checked there as well. Let's have a look at Joseph. Yep. So doesn't seem to be rhyme or reason to that. So he had the third thing equipped. Alright. At least now everyone's got the weapons equipped that we want them to be using. Let's move Amiri up, and let's see how this plays out. Make sure our AI is turned off for all of our characters. Yep, alright. So, let's see how this plays out. That's good. We've got Lindsay moving back out of range of these mercenaries, which did somehow see her without making a perception check. Again, I think that's just bad encounter design. Let's have her use her grease spell here to hopefully slow down these enemies as they come through. let's have her target it there. Then let's have Valerie, Joseph, and Amiri all move up, ready to take advantage of, hopefully, enemies flailing about in the grease. Alright. There we go. So she's cast grease. We're going to now have her use her bardic ability to inspire courage. And then we're going to have her move back, so hopefully she doesn't get targeted. There we go, good. So, it looks like Grease has taken down this mercenary, that's excellent. Let's have all of our characters now attack the fallen mercenary, and hopefully not walk into the grease themselves, but it looks like the area of... Oh! Ha! So that's terrible! Joseph succeeded on a reflex save, Valerie and Amiri both failed, so even though that looks like the area of effect, the area of effect apparently extends beyond the graphic. Oh. It's a bit of a shambles. Alright. So, now... it's all falling apart. Let's have our characters try to move back out of the area of effect of the grease spell, if they can. Let's have Lindsay cast a healing spell on Amiri, who's taken some damage. Alright, this is all a bit of a shambles. Let's have her pull back again. Everyone's still lying on the ground. Now that you've made your reflex save though, let's have you attack, since you're up. Let's perhaps have Valerie try to skirt this and get around to attack those at the back. Excellent, so there's the attack of opportunity, that's nice. The prone character standing up provoked the attack of opportunity from Joseph. That's kind of what we want to happen, but we really wanted our characters to be on the edge of this grease effect, not suffering from it themselves, and putting them there was complicated by the fact that the graphical area of effect, at least when the spell was first cast, didn't indicate its actual area of effect. That's something I guess we can learn from and apply in future. Whoa! So Joseph was just critically hit for massive amounts of damage, and it looks like once your main character's dead, that's game over. Alright, I'm going to wrap this one up here on a kind of sour note. I've got to say that the way that encounter played out was very frustrating, because scouting with Lindsay was meant to let us see what was up ahead and then prepare for it. And instead what happened was Lindsay was magically detected by Tartuccio, triggering this combat encounter that left our frontline characters well back, left Lindsay exposed at the front here, and gave us no chance to prep like we would have prepped had we scouted, withdrew, and then set up for the encounter on our own terms. So overall, I've got to say that critical hits aside, those happen who can complain about the roll of the dice. Critical hits aside, and the sort of the bad ending here aside, the way this played out was frustrating and I think silly. Scouting under stealth should have let us set up for this encounter on our own terms. Instead, what it did was trigger the encounter with our weakest character well forward, our strongest characters well back, and then reactively trying to play through that encounter didn't work out for us, but shouldn't have been what we were faced with anyway. If the game had let us scout and then prepare, this might have gone much better. We might have still got criticaled and killed, but again, you can't complain about the roll of the dice. I think you can complain about the way that these encounters are scripted to play out. So yeah, let's wrap this one up here. We'll come back next time to try this again, and next time we won't make the mistake of scouting. And the fact that scouting turns out to be a mistake is kind of, I think, a poor reflection on the game's design. But next time, knowing that moving close enough with anyone is going to trigger this encounter, I think we'll simply march our strongest characters forward and be ready for the combat to trigger automatically at the end of that dialogue. So yeah, not fantastic, I've got to say. Salty about a critical hit and a character death? No, that's not the issue. The issue is the way that the encounter's designed. So yeah, let's wrap it here. Let's come back next time, a little wiser to the way that stealth seems to work, or doesn't work, and let's have another go at this encounter next time. Alright, see you then.